Jess, how was your pee break?
My pee break.
It might flash you on TikTok.
Random, baby.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me. Quite an intro.
Let's address the elephant in the room. That's not the elephant in the room. There's no elephant. Nobody cares.
I too am a thought criminal. Good. Well, I like you already.
Does this look like a girl who's joking around?
No.
Messing around? But how much do you actually understand money? Especially the new wave. Beauty or intelligence? When you unleash both, it is men's kryptonite. Welcome to Talk to Me, Taylor. Welcome back, everybody. Did you think that you'd seen the last of me? Okay, no, I am coming back swinging and giving a little nod to the OG Cancel Me, baby. Cancel me tonight, perhaps, because I got to tell you, this guest, and she is backstage. She's looking flossy. I feel like she is ready for the stage. Nothing she's not used to, okay? She just did a TED Talk in October. You know, I don't just bring anybody around, but tonight, this is like perfect timing that we are having her. And she's very much into like quantum thinking. So as fate would have it, I'm returning tonight after being off of the grid, because the sick lords were like, no, bitch, you got over one virus. When I met Stacy, who's backstage, I was just getting over the first one. Stacy, I just am getting over the second one, okay? So, you know, when you're sick, you're over everything, you're over everyone. And on top of it, I was off the grid, not only because of, you know, being sick, but also just being over the algorithmic hell. And, you know, all of these quote unquote influencers, like everybody up in our shit, like bombarding us with unwarranted opinions. And it's like, no one asked you, just like over the whole thing. And so lo and behold, who do we have tonight? But a TED Talk giver and a founder of what we're going to talk about. It's called Influential. Okay. And her whole philosophy is all about real genius and real influence. And so we're going to see if I have said genius or influence, like coming out of a NyQuil coma that never ended, but also kind of unpacking and dissecting the posers out there which run amok and are not lacking and real influence. So without further ado, everybody, give it up a drum roll for Stacy. Stacy Rask. Stacy.
Oh my goodness, you're so funny.
Stacy, like I said, as fate would have it, it couldn't have been better timing. And so here we are. Right. And welcome to Talk to Me, Taylor. I'm so excited to have you here.
I'm so excited too. You know, I just got this whole new setup and I'm like, I'm going to add some lights. So like, I don't know.
It's working for you. It's a new setup.
I'm like, oh, a little ethereal action happening, right?
Oh yeah, I'm honored. I'm flattered. I have like this I just was running it through ChatGPT. I'm like, I feel like I'm in homeschool. Like, I don't even know, like taking a 7th grade yearbook photo with this background. So I need an upgrade, but hang on, we already have a comment. What's up, Pyramid 7? Thank you for standing by. Also, Glockner. Look at Stacey, we haven't even started, and the people
I know.
Here. I always have that intro when you say let's talk about the elephant in the room. Oh yeah. Well,
there's always an elephant.
Yeah, there's an elephant in the room tonight. And we're gonna get to that. So Stacy, your TED Talk was Stop Shoulding Yourself. And that's not shitting, guys. That's shoulding.
But it is, I mean, it's meant to be
disruptive like
that, right? Because if you're shitting on yourself, you're shitting on yourself. And as you saw from my before photos, you know, unzipping that should version of myself was very, very dramatic. And then you know, letting that identity go and instead stepping into who I'm meant to be. But so for those of you who don't know me, hi, I'm Stacy Raske. I'm an Iraq War veteran, author, obviously speaker, super nerd, tech junkie, and I'm all about, you know, systems, automation, quantum acceleration, AI, anything that is about creating leverage and increasing our capacity. So my genius is in really finding the blind spots around where are you leaking energy on the front end because that turns into profit leaks on the back end. And so everything that I do is about creating this capacity architecture, whether it's internal or external in systems and monetizing your genius.
So Stacey, you are a woman who actually, and we talked about this when we met offline, you are somebody who is sort of living proof of what you preach, right? Because there are, like I said, there are a lot of posers, especially when you get, let's not lie, maybe an elephant in the room or not, especially in the self-help arena, right? And you're somebody, I mean, you talk about it in your TED Talk. You were like 150 pounds overweight using a cane, your marriage falling apart, and basically turning your life around. Mm-hmm. And when I asked you, you know, I had a body transformation journey, not to that extent, which is so impressive. But I was like in the gym for hours, and you're like, Taylor, I did it all in my mind. I was like, what? And you're like, no, it's all everything I was actually literally carrying. So, you know, all of that to say is you're somebody who actually did it. And, you know, so that's kind of in sum. And again, you really do. I'm going to kind of human explain it, but you do, your philosophy really is everybody has a core genius, and we're all kind of bogged down in the weeds of the matrix, so to speak, right? And the shit that we're told to do, which is keeping us from said genius. So before we unpack that, because there's a lot there, tell us something about, because you know, the TED Talk stage is a very revered spot. So tell us, Stacey, something maybe in the process that, you know, we wouldn't know, we don't see. Let us in.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. What level of transparency may I share?
The whole way, right? The whole way. Yes, my viewers know it is all out there to be seen.
Like there's still a lot, right? But you know, it's interesting because to compress the power and impact of the story down into 6 minutes, right? It does well. It lends well. But the really beautiful insight that came from kind of going back through the stories in this perception that I have now, right? At this stage of my journey, not like when I wrote my book in 2019, because I mean, you know, I've grown a lot significantly since then even. But looking back and saying, wow, every single time in my life where I experienced seemingly overwhelming levels of hardship, that was when my genius came to the surface, and I actually experienced the greatest peace and ease and authenticity in my life, going back to being homeless and abandoned as a teenager and having to couch surf to finish high school. And it was finally getting to live on my own terms. And I wasn't wearing the should mask. That was my first taste of that identity freedom. And that was the game changer there, and starting down the path of being really disruptive in the sense of like joining the military at 22, you know, not something women usually do. It was just, you know, everything was about doing it my own way. And then whenever it was disrupted, then it was back to the should story, which was getting hurt in Iraq and then medically discharged and all of that. But it's just, I can see the patterns. And that's the thing. Every single one of us have those patterns showing up in your life where you see those times where you were able to lean back and be yourself through the challenges, regardless of what was pushing up against you. And those are those peaks and insights into where your genius lives.
Just to interject. So is it, again, to kind of like human explain it, that idea of like rock bottom, and that idea of like, you know what they say, like the man or the woman with nothing to lose is the one to be feared the most, because it's like they have nothing to lose at that point. So it's like, it's just all bets are off. Is that the kind of idea that you're getting at?
No, that was very different from the rock bottom. And I agree with you, right? Like, I mean, that was why it was so much of like a light switch after the rock bottom moment of like, that's it. I'm done trying to control anything other than myself. And when I stopped, woo, 155 pounds melts off the body. And you know,
literally, right, Stacey, when you told me that, I was like, what? I've only been counting my macros and in the gym for 2 hours a day for 5 months. No.
Yeah.
But how it really was
it was those moments looking back where it's the conditions that can on the surface seem like it's really hard, right? You think about where our skills show up, where our genius, the things that everyone looks at you and is like, oh my God, you make that look so easy. That's the stuff that I'm talking about. So even through the challenge and the hardship of the things that happen through childhood, through military, through life, it's some of those moments where now that I have the perspective of actually looking through the lens of awareness to say, wow, those are those moments where I really stepped into a level of authenticity and ease despite the challenges.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, is like where the more authentic you are, and that's what it is with being influential. It's the highest form of leadership. It is the more you are being in the world, that is what impacts and influences and elevates others around you.
It's so interesting, your work, and why I'm excited to dive into this with you tonight, even if it is in, the next 15, 20 minutes, because the word authentic, boy, oh boy, has it been used and abused and co-opted and everyone being like, they're authentic. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
But we do have a comment here. She thrived under pressure. That is awesome. Yeah, totally. And I feel so cheesy even quoting Selling Sunset right now, but I'm gonna do it. Okay. Cancel me, baby. Like I said, but they, in a recent episode that I was watching, they said like the idea of a diamond being created under pressure, right? And like that idea. And that's fascinating, Stacey. And I love that. And even here it's resonating in the comments. Stacey, yes, I agree. Yes, thank you for your service, which
you're welcome.
The first time I met, would you start a podcast, Taylor?
It is influential, is my podcast.
Taylor, you're looking good tonight. Oh, why? Thank you. I attribute this to the child's Tylenol sleep that I took last night. But anyways, that's fascinating, Stacey. I actually also meant the behind the scenes that we wouldn't know of the TED Talk process. And you can get as transparent as, like, I've had a friend who's done a TED Talk and actually like got shafted because of the politics of, like, however much, if you want to go there or not. Yeah. Like the back, like something, a little tidbit we would know about that process.
So I am going to go with the exact same philosophy that I say to everyone about everything. If you're pushing, if you're chasing, stop. It is absolutely why we shut ourselves into fucking misery and burnout, because everybody's out there hustling their asses off, chasing the validation of what that TEDx is going to do for your ego. Because guess what? I'm a straight shooter. That's the reality. And the second that
you didn't chase that opportunity,
I didn't. It came to me because I was ready to receive it. That's what everybody's like, oh my God, how many things did you apply for? And who did you chase? I said, no, mofo. I was clear on my signal and the opportunity came. So, and this is not abundance manifestation bullshit. It is simply the power of clarity and consistency.
Well, that's how it can often come off, right? Like the platitudes and like, how does this apply to my life? Like something I was even going to ask you, but I'll just jump the ship and on my own thing here.
Right.
It's like, that's just how we go here. We just go rogue.
No, we're not going to go into any of that manifestation mumbo jumbo that shames everyone into saying, well, you're just not positive enough. Yeah. No, you want to talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about that.
No, 100. And so, okay, great. Let's go there. Right. So say, and again, I was going to have this in the as the last shebang, but let's do it now. Like prom night came early. So say you have like, say you have Rachel who is miserable at her 9 to 5 and she's listening to like, stop shitting myself, getting in my own way, all this. She quits her job tomorrow. What would you tell her? Right? Because is this, a one size fits all? And after you address that, I'm going to get into the next comment we have here, which is great. Yeah.
So the challenge is everyone thinks they need to do something. That's the fallacy. Authenticity is an internal job. And when we stop the action and the motion and the self-soothing discomfort by hustling, that's when the clarity comes. Mm-hmm. Your internal compass, that signal is always there. But we're so busy ignoring it, chasing all the stuff that we're told or programmed or patterned into. Right? That's the thing. So I always say is the first thing to do is nothing. And it's hard. I will promise you, I am so type A, recovering control freak. like every control issue under the sun. But it was recognizing every one of those control issues was this deep sense of trying to create safety that I never had.
It's very, I don't know if we talked about this, Stacey, when we first met, but like your philosophy is very much giving Michael Singer the surrender experiment, who I'm obsessed with. Like even as I can't even say I'm a recovering control freak. Like I am in CF anonymous, like 100%. But that idea of, and if you even want to get spiritual or religious with it, right? But that idea of like, God, the universe is whatever you believe in, that it's planned for you, and you trying to micromanage and getting in the way and like fucking it up, which I think is like kind of what you're getting at. But that leads to the ultimate dilemma, which is the next elephant in the room. Like this is just the Ringley brothers with all the elephants coming through, because this gets to my next point, Stacey. And there's a great comment here from Glocknor. When your will is strong, things can really begin to happen. And we all need to test ourselves more these days. So actually, again, call it serendipitous quantum thinking, because that leads me in exactly which I was gonna get at, Stacey, which is this dilemma, right? Of, you know, and I love your core ethos of like true genius, how we let all this other stuff muck it up and get in the way. However, you know, are you at risk of romanticizing doing nothing and kind of feeding into what we already see? Let's be real. I'm a millennial. I can admit millennials have it. It drives me nuts. And Gen Z is the worst. Like lazy entitlement culture. Everything should just come to me, which is also up against the idea. Like I know hustle culture is toxic, what you're getting at. And again, micromanaging and getting in your own way. However, the idea of, to this point, like fighting for what you want. I mean, you know, Elon Musk, one of the most influential, genius, richest men on the planet, like in the beginning days, like slept on the floor at PayPal, like can attribute so much of his success to hustle and working hard. So when those things go up against each other, where does your lived experience and philosophy come in, right? Or does one go too far? Like how are the two married?
I love this. This is such a beautiful conversation, because it is. People will pick one extreme or the other, right? You see the people all the time like, oh, I'm waiting for it to manifest. So they don't do shit. And everything's a balance, right? The infinite loop of masculine, feminine energy. I didn't say don't do anything ever. I simply said when you feel something, don't do something to fix it, right? When you're feeling that, when that awareness comes in of like, ooh, I'm not happy with where I'm at in my life, my career, my business, my relationships, whatever it is. If you do something external, you're still avoiding the truth. The mirror in the discomfort is what's happening internally. What is your role and responsibility in creating it? And it's not even about effort. It's simply, what is your truth in this moment telling you? And then from that clarity, what are the right actions to take, right? And so action leads to clarity, right? The imperfect action. But it's the faster that I've learned to trust the loop of the inspiration, the imagination, and then the action that follows. It's very different when it's fueled internally versus me chasing something external to fill the need or the hole or the core, right? The not enoughness. And that's very different, whether you're waiting and sitting around and not taking action. Like, I reject hustle culture, right? But it's still ego. It is still this, I'm still so resistant. It's a different kind of chasing. But either way, it's still proving, I am proving my worth and deservability through whatever action or inaction I'm doing. It's still an action and a choice. But when you're from a place of, I'm so good with me that I have no emotional attachment to anything that's happening out here, like nothing's going to fuck with my flow. Like it's a choice. And that's a very different space to be in, because that's true freedom.
So what if, Stacey, somebody hears, you know, what you're saying, and it's like, just be, yeah, that like really harness and foster that, like, don't fuck with me, and everything else will kind of, again, it's like the Michael Singer thing, like fall into place with what's meant, right? And again, Rachel, exhibit A from earlier, is like, Stacey, I have bills to pay. What do you mean? Just sit and do nothing? Like, what am I supposed to do? You know, what would you say?
Well, first of all, I would say you're not listening. I didn't say don't do nothing. I simply said, if you're feeling that discomfort, don't do action to fix it. If you're uncomfortable and you're feeling like you want to quit your job, that's the time to go inward and really look at, is it the job or is it you? Mm-hmm. Because again, every single one of these experiences is simply a mirror reflection of what's happening internally. And until we're willing to really look in the mirror and say, wow, okay, every time. My husband and I have been together 25 years. We've been through each other's rock bottoms. We've been through war. We've been through, like infidelity on both sides. We've been through all these different things, working together. Oh my God. Running businesses together, right? Like all the shit. And ultimately, it's understanding every time I get to a place where I'm feeling, the anger or the resentment, or I'm only seeing what's not working, I step back and really, okay, what is this saying about me? Because it's always a mirror. Yeah. When I feel that friction and I'm paying attention to the stuff that I don't like, what I'm really picking up on is where I'm failing myself. Because I'll tell you, if I feel like he's disrespecting my time or my space or my boundaries, guess what? I'm not fucking doing it for myself. Mm-hmm. Every time. So all of it is simply the mirror to how can you shift what you can control, and that's only you. What are you going to do differently? How will you choose to show up differently? Not for anybody else, but for you. The cascade then becomes everyone else is a hell of a lot happier when you're happier.
Yeah.
And happy's fleeting, right? But like joy is such an embodied state. And it doesn't mean you're in toxic positivity, right? Like shit happens.
Right, of course.
You're not avoiding those emotions either.
I feel like I am perfect. I mean, we talked about this offline, but like a perfect client for you because I am that person. I've gotten better, but when you talk about like scrambling to fix or do or fill a void in that idea of like effort not necessarily equaling value, I'm that person, Stacey, who would be like, again, like it's struggle, it's sacrifice, it's, I would spend 8 hours editing a video. No, I have to do this. No. Instead of going, how about I spend 4 hours editing and 4 hours reading the news at a coffee shop? Nope. Those 4 hours reading and at a coffee shop, I like will beat the shit out of myself being like, you weren't working. You weren't really working. Those 4 hours, like that's what goes on in my brain.
Yeah. And then what's really interesting, because I will do that same cycle too. Then now what it is now I've gotten to the point where I'm able to see it in real time and catch myself to be like, okay, what am I getting out of this? Right. Because it's the perfection cycle is like, I call it the prep purgatory. Like I'm always getting to get ready. But then we don't just put it out there, right? Because it's got to make it perfect or whatever. And so, it always goes to like, what are we really hiding from? Are we hiding from the success? Are we hiding from rejection? What is that deeper?
Oh my God.
What is that deeper thing that
part. And I love how you just cut through. I mean, you got to this earlier. Yes, parents have to be honest with yourself. And that's exactly this point. Like I have done so much introspective work. I'm sure you guys watching too.
ADHDs, right?
If you suffer from this, but the idea of what is going on so deep down that you're almost like it's self-inflicted or getting in your own way. And it's not topical or surface level. Like I'm not a procrastinator. My viewers know, like I do shit. This is like a deeper level of, am I so afraid of success, of the responsibility of whatever, that I will edit a video for 8 hours instead of whatever it is. Like, is it so subconscious? And I love how you cut through the platitude of like, it's the manifesting and it's in your own mind and getting in your own way. I have beat the shit out of myself 7 ways from Sunday in that regard of like, but I'm doing all the meditations and am I just fucking it up deep down?
We're just checking the boxes, right? We're doing it, but we're not embodying it, right? Like I can tell you for years.
Stacey, like but I did the journal prompts. I did the journal prompts every day.
So when I stopped doing it, everything got better. everything that I should do when I gave myself permission to just let it go. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is so much better. But here's the thing. I want to talk about this since, thank you Pyramid 7 for bringing up the ADHD, right? Here's the difference. People like us, we are those multi-passionate, high-performing entrepreneurs. We're polymaths. Our genius extends both right brain, left brain, and we indulge all of it. So it looks like we're constantly in shiny object and chasing new things and unfocused and, easily distracted and all over the place. And that's a lie. It's a misdiagnosis. The thing is there's so much multidimensionality to how we think and how we move through the universe as these amazingly dynamic beings that all of the parts of us must equally be stimulated and activated. The challenge is many of us also come from a high level of childhood dysregulation in our nervous system. Okay, we could say big T trauma, fucked up childhood, sure. But anything that creates dis-ease or dysregulation in our nervous system, high anxiety, childhoods, it doesn't matter what it is. But you add in an elevated fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, combined with that level of activity is why we're always in this perpetual state of motion. So what's happening when you're editing for 8 hours, you're actually regulating your nervous system. And it's a constructive way of regulating your nervous system and why it's so easy for us to hyper focus on that stuff. So yes, there is some of that fear and the BS that's happening, but it wouldn't be fair to not talk about the nervous system regulation that happens by doing some of those self-soothing behaviors. Right? We, as multi-passionate polymath entrepreneurs, have found a lot of self-soothing in productivity. So
ain't that
we always look like we're doing shit when really I'm like, no.
100%. Yes. Psychoanalysis, check on point.
There you go.
To zoom it out and kind of get into the influencer culture I was getting at earlier. And this is something that I really kind of call out and get to on my show often. And given that you're somebody who helps leading experts be at their highest genius peak influential, right? Something I grapple with is at this point, Stacey, let's be real. First of all, is influencer culture, whatever you want to call it, really just good branding and marketing at this point? And is the influencer becoming bigger than influence itself? I know I have thoughts, but I'm going to hold my earrings and I really want you to dig into that.
Yes. Absolutely. As someone who's already doing business as though it's 2030, I can tell you the future. And the bubbles popped on the influencer culture as it was. Like we've really seen it, right? A lot of the bros and the heavy marketers and, the coaches and the gurus who really never delivered anything, right? So there's been this progressive awakening and disruption of those bubbles of fake, the inauthenticity, because again, this collective dysregulation, people are getting the dopamine hit when they're buying out of fear or FOMO or chasing something. So what's been really beautiful in the circles that I play in and socialize and do business in and all the things is these are all these very truly influential leaders and impactors globally who are doing all the stuff, and nobody had to take a photo of it. Nobody had to post anything online about it. My business blew up in a good way when I stopped doing everything 2 years ago people said I should do. Then I did it for 8 years in my first company, and then I started doing it in my second company. And it was the posting and the sales and the emails and everything. And it's like
the funnels.
When I stopped doing any of it, my business blew up in a good way because I had the bandwidth to show up and build relationship authentically. And the big choice was I eliminated the need energy, which is that chasey, salesy energy.
Yeah.
You feel it. You feel it, right? You go to the networking event and somebody's like, buy my shit. And like, that's all they care about.
I'm allergic to it. I'm allergic to it on the feed and in person.
Oh my God. Right. But I literally just checked it. I said, you know what? I'm just going to show up to be of service. And in 2 years, I've sold nothing. And yet my business has like 5x'd in revenue. I have amazing clients. I love and we serve, and you know what I mean? It's just, I show up to be of service, just like our intro call. Like, we're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, we had so much fun. And it was like, I sold nothing. And everybody says it all the time. Like, oh my God, you didn't sell me anything. And I'm like, but I need you. And I need what you're doing. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
It's just such a different energy. But I think that's the difference between influential, or even more so influential, and then influencer. And it's a bubble. It's just good marketing. It's just good marketing and brand.
Yep. You hit so many things right there. And first of all, I appreciate you acknowledging that a lot of the times, not to burst the bubble, but yes, I've interviewed these people. I mean, I've seen that are huge, massive, and meeting them in person. And I'm like, where's the lie? Like, this shit is all marketing.
So fake.
Scam. Fake. Yeah. Yes. So thank you for acknowledging that, because I'll have people in your realm on the show and they're like, oh, no, I couldn't possibly. And I'm like, where is the lie? Like, because I'll often ask sometimes, like, what's a red flag, or, something with self-help people. And so thank you for acknowledging that, that in fact exists. And it's very much true. And I love what you said as well. And funny enough, I had this written down. Something that, of course, really grinds my gears is people just trying to be the most and outperform and be salesy and be really flashy. And I was going to ask you, but you kind of already hit it. Is there something in this culture about just like a quiet power, which obviously is yes, which you kind of got to. Lastly,
I mean, it's being embodied, right? Like it's you're so good with you, right? And that's the thing, is like, even the people that I play with, like, this is how I got to the clarity of knowing I want to work with us's and me's, not from an ego place, but it's like playing with people who we never have to shrink or slow down to be around people who can keep up. And that's a lot of that dysregulation, right? And this is all my ADHD friends, right? Is we're so used to having to slow ourselves down for other people to catch up. We're always shrinking. And to be in a room with other people who are so good with who they are and can keep up with you, and you can accelerate with them, it changes. And no one's speaking or showing up from a place of ego. And when they're speaking, like, about from a place of true confidence.
I love that.
And alignment. Like, we just have so much fun.
And
it's so different, right? When you just are around people that they learn to let that part of themselves,
I love that.
Go. The negative side of it, right? Like, we all need to have a little bit of yes, I can still get triggered and do what I call the puffer fish. Like, what? I did not.
Yeah. I love what you're getting at. It's like, I say this all the time. It's like, we see it, you don't have to tell us, and like, let the flex just flex. Like, you don't have to be out here like making a whole thing. With that said,
but you can be honest about it, right? You can be honest about a flex. Like, right now, I'm so proud. Like, I just upgraded my whole office situation because it was part of me raising my standards to match the version of the goals, the vision of myself for my next level goals. So in raising those standards, I'm like, it's like new desk and monitor and computers, like stuff. And I'm excited about it. And it wasn't getting any of it for external validation. So if I share it from that place, like, fuck yeah, kudos to you. High fives. Celebrate the shit out of your wins when it's coming from that place of fullness. Very different.
You can tell so much when it's coming from a place of like insecurity or ego. The discrepancy. Yeah. In like 30 seconds, Stacey, before I get to the last question, what's a self-help platitude that you can't stand?
Oh God, really? So many.
There's so many. Where do I start?
I would say almost all of them, really. I think, it's just that anything that focuses so much on positive, like I think that toxic positivity thing is just anything outside of yourself. It's just, even fake it till you make it, right? There's such a misinterpretation of what that means. I think people have really spun it so far off of what the truth of that means that, there's just so many of those things. I'm just like, if it's some sort of platitude, I'm just like, my mojo's like, look, it's only as hard as you make it. So stop making it so damn hard. Like effort does not equal value. So ease is absolutely the way to go.
So maybe that's just it. But I wanted to lastly ask, because, why I was, of course, drawn to you is your whole, again, philosophy of breaking out of the matrix, right? In your own way. Like I break out of the matrix in my own way. You do it over there, both in our blue corners. We're like the blue men group over here at blue corners of the world.
We just make our own blue oceans, right?
What's that?
So we just make our own blue oceans too. Like we're just
exactly of wisdom
play and just invite people to come along.
Yes. But that idea of break, and just a fun little story, I was having, because you're exactly right. People from the outside will be like, what are you? It's not, the quote right way. And, the 9 to 5 and the having a secure, foundation and the 401k and the whole this. And I'm in a family of boomers, like the whole thing. So my boomer aunt
did it till I almost died.
It's and trying all the different things, and you know exactly how it is. You said it, in this chat. But my aunt said to me over the holidays, she's like, just what is it with you and your generation of not wanting to get a normal regular job and all this? And I said to her, I was like, and I could go on about this. Obviously, it's the premise of my entire life's work. But I said to her, why am I going to go work for somebody else and slave away to hopefully have an unfulfilling path to hopefully just one day retire and have a 401k? And she literally says, goes, yes. Like it was literally out of a
like that's
amazing. Like, right.
No, I mean, right? But that's the thing. But that's patterning and programming, and right, there are fixed thinkers and there's growth minded, right? And that's like, there's no right or wrong. The thing I've noticed is if you are growth minded, it's hard to be around fixed mindset people. That's it.
100.
Not good, not bad, no judgment. Like it just is. Like we all need worker bees.
No, the NPC. No, my bad. The cough's still lingering. The NPCs. No, I love Pyramid 7 always ends us on a mic drop. Find the freedom to kick ass. Yeah. So that leads me to my very last thing, Stacey, which is, what would you say is your most like outlandish thought, idea, method that really like puts the matrix in its place, and just anyone with a matrix thinking mind, it would just like blow their mind? Like maybe it's provocative or really controversial or something that's just like for somebody in the matrix that's really out there.
Yeah. So the biggest thing I shattered was doing business in a linear format. Like I completely eliminated linear thinking. So what that means in context, especially for those of you who are entrepreneurs or you've heard the marketing speak, right, is like a funnel, a value ladder, an offer stack. Basically what you're doing is you're telling them where to go, versus what I eliminated in removing anything linear is I created this recursive offer ecosystem where it becomes this sort of choose your own journey, and it's solving the problem. You do the assessment and then you're just solving the problem number one, the most important thing, and doing it quickly, right? Working through, IP that I've developed and then the agents that I've made, then the AI, and like it doesn't have to take years to get to the outcome you want. And so when you're not having to go back through all the stuff or follow even a linear program where it's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, like, no, why?
Got it.
So when you start allowing people to choose their own journey based on what do they need right now, it completely opens up the opportunity to build deeper connection and community, and more importantly, create faster, higher quality results in any business. So for me, I'm like, look, guys, like, stop doing all these things. All the things that you're told you should do is doing business like it's 2015, not 2030. So here's the little story that I always share when thinking about this concept is a few years ago, my husband and I, we went off grid in the Yucatan Peninsula out in the Mayan jungle to basically reset our marriage. And the side note was we ended up burning the marriage down and starting over. So we actually ended it. But in the inside of that trip, we were kayaking. Oh. Yeah, no, we did. And what we did was like, why go through years of therapy when we can just say, nope, let's recognize the relationship's the problem, not us. And we'll just say delete and just start over. And we just wrote new rules of engagement and it was fine. And I was like, oh, it's just that easy. Like, it's just a choice. It was wild. But that's a whole nother podcast episode. So I don't want to go down that yet, but I'm seeding that story loop for our next one. So everybody can remember.
There you go.
But while we're there in Bacalar, we are in the lagoon kayaking. And I'm kayaking, and I'm just like, why does this feel so hard? Right? I don't kayak often. So, it's easy to just like, oh, I just am not, out of shape or whatever. And all of a sudden it dawned on me. And I asked myself this question and I said, am I pushing the water or am I pulling the boat?
You were pushing the water.
That's what I was doing. That's why it was so hard. I was pushing the water. As soon as I was like, no, I want to pull the boat, my whole physiology instantly changed. Just a knowing of what needed to happen. And I was able to kayak for the next however many hours. I didn't get exhausted. I wasn't sore the next day. And it was simply a matter of asking the right question and shifting my perspective on what outcome I wanted. That's it. So just ask yourself when it comes to life, business, yourself, what you want to have. Are you pushing the water or are you pulling the boat?
Wow. What a great story. And what a great way to end this. I hope you guys, yeah, exactly. John Legend here with the second mic drop after Pyramid 7. I mean, wow. And what a great metaphor for everything. Stacey, the amount of times I've been pushing the water for hours on holidays, nights, at coffee shop for hours, weeks, days, months, years going, no, this is what I have to do. And I'm, so methodical. And yeah, you're right. That is, your method is really, it's a non-cheesy and real way of like working smarter, not harder. And yes, like even for me, who's such an out of the matrix thinker and being the way I navigate, I am very methodical in that way of like what you said, step 1, 2, 3, 4. Otherwise it's cheating. Otherwise I didn't earn it. Otherwise, I didn't work for it. And so, I really appreciate all of that input. And anyway, thank you, Glockner. Thanks for joining. And, again, my viewers know any way to push everybody watching out of the boxes, out of the matrix, to think, speak, live on their own terms, not how we've been programmed, is what I'm trying to do. So thank you for tonight being part of that mission. Guys, be sure to look up Stacey Rasky in Flow Enchel. Check out her TED Talk. It's 6.5 minutes that you won't regret. Stacey, thank you so much. My fellow little matrix breaker. I love it. I mean, just
this was so fun. And thank you guys for hanging in for like a little longer chat. So
yeah, we had to give you and your awesome new background, the spotlight that it deserves. So we went a little overtime to showcase that. But Stacey, thank you so much. And you'll be back for part 2. We got to hear the rest of the marriage story.
Oh yeah. That's another matrix. See, that's another matrix shattering thing.
I love it.
Because everybody's like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, we literally ended the marriage, burned it down, and hit the reset button. And like, that's it. Like, it was just, okay. It's just an agreement. Like, that's the thing. It's not so hard. It is literally as hard as we make it.
I love cliffhanger and something to think about. Stacey, thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you all on Monday. Bye.
Chris, how was your pee break?
My pee break.
They might flash you.
Random, baby.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Quite an intro.
Let's address the elephant in the room. That's not the elephant in the room. There's no elephant. Nobody cares.
I too am a thought criminal. Good, well I like you already.
Does this look like a girl who's joking around? Messing around?
But how much do you actually understand money? Especially the new wave.
Beauty or intelligence? When you